Are you charging enough? Are you including, so in this picture, if you can't see it, this is a cupcake. Okay, actually, I made this slide today because we had a long discussion on this last night and on pricing, because this is an integral piece of you creating a sustainable business. Now, obviously, you may not sell cupcakes. It's just a metaphor for whatever it is you sell.
Yeah.
But are you including all the costs associated with making your cupcake? So you would think, okay, obvious. And also, do you know your real cost to make this cupcake? So here's what I mean. Obviously, we know the ingredients. We would know, okay, well, look, how's it cost me? How much does it cost me to make a batch of cupcakes? Well, guess what? It costs me $2 for baking mix or whatever, all the ingredients. But I'm going to sell them for $3.49, and that makes like 6 cupcakes, and so that's like $24. So I'm going to make like $20 in profit, and that's great. That's a lot of money. But guess what? You weren't accounting for everything else, you see? And also, especially if you are the one making the cupcakes, you're like, oh, well, you don't have to pay anything else. There's no other cost. But guess what? You're not pricing at a level that allows you to scale. So you'll always be making cupcakes. You'll always be making cupcakes. Unless you start to include in the price. Because see, the thing is, that $20 of profit, you think you have, you're not spending that because you've got to buy more ingredients for next month's batch of cupcakes or next week's batch of cupcakes. So that's not profit. That goes right into the business, right back in. And so you know that it costs for sugar and baking mix and whatever else goes in the cupcakes. You know that, but and then you got to use that money. Well, I can't spend that money because I got to buy more of those ingredients. So it's not like you have profit. It's not like you can put that money in the savings or use it to invest in things that make more money. You don't have any extra money because you're not charging enough. Mm-hmm. So where's your labor? So, okay, well, I'm the labor. I make all the cupcakes. You're going to be 100 years old making cupcakes? Okay, that's what you want. That's up to you. That's your choice. Your marketing. Well, I do all the posts on Instagram myself. Really? You do that? And you're trying to make $100,000 this year? That's a $50 an hour goal. And you're doing $12 an hour jobs? Well, I don't have the money to do it. Really? Okay, you know why? Because you're not including the cost of marketing in each and every cupcake. If you did that, you would have money to hire someone to do your marketing. Utilities. These cupcakes just don't bake, in the air. You've got to have heat. You can't probably cook in a cold spot. You got to have, you got to pay for heat to heat your building or wherever you cook them. You got to pay rent there probably, I'm sure. You've got to, there's utilities, gas and electric. Now, and so obviously you're not selling one cupcake and all these things. You're selling hopefully hundreds of cupcakes. You know how much you made from hundreds of cupcakes in revenue. You divide it out by how many cupcakes you sell. Then that's my real cost per cupcake. Okay? So let me check in with you guys. I'm going to check in. You guys, are you following me? Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay? Your cupcake is more expensive than the ingredients. Okay? And so I just want to make sure you guys are with me. So your cupcake is more expensive than the ingredients. So you see here in this little, in this list, rent you got to pay. That's every month. Recruiting and training. So look, people keep quitting. Oh, I can't find good people. Well, you know what? Maybe you need to find a recruiter. Maybe you need to pay. Maybe it's not just you just find people that walk in. Maybe you need to have a way of screening them and recruiting them in a better way. And that costs money. If you know the cost of that, you could put that into your cupcake. Reinvesting into your business. You've got to buy the next batch of ingredients. That's everybody. Paying yourself. A lot of folks don't pay themselves. I know some of you don't. I know you don't. We've talked about it. So are you paying yourself? Do you actually have in real life any profit? Like in real life. Like you may have money in the bank right now, but but that money's to buy stuff for more cupcakes, right? So if you don't have money in the bank, any type of savings, you're not charging enough. If you don't have any actual profit, and that profit is what's actually left over that you don't have to spend on more cupcakes. If you don't have that, you may not be charging enough. Do you have any money for savings and investments? You see, you're always going to be in the same place making cupcakes if you're not taking money out of your business and investing it. I'm not talking about reinvesting in your business. That has to happen to keep going. I'm talking about investing in other things that make money, like stocks or real estate or whatever. Because if not, you're never going to have any wealth. You'll always just be working, making cupcakes. Okay? So look at this little diagram over here. So here's a cupcake, right? So you see here, the old price was $3.49. And these are just kind of arbitrary numbers. This is not really based on I didn't do a cash flow projection, a business model on cupcakes. These are just numbers for the example. But look at this, right? Nice, pretty cupcake, icing on it, right? On this bottom level. So for those who can't see, this is a cupcake with a candle in it. It's a nice lemon. I love lemon cupcakes. So on the bottom part of the cupcake, right where like that paper part is that you hold the cupcake, that's this month's expenses. So you know that stuff. You know I've got to buy stuff to make cupcakes. You know that. Then the next little section above that, kind of like where the cake part is, that you kind of where the icing is on, most of the icing is, that's next month's expenses. So you can't spend that money in the bank because you got to buy stuff for next month. And so, and you figure that out. You're like, okay, well, look, if I sell all the cupcakes at $3.49, I'm good. I can stay in business. But you'll be staying in business forever, okay, making cupcakes, and you'll never be able to hire anybody to do your marketing, to cook the cupcakes. You'll always be in the same space until something happens where you don't have any money extra to cover it, and then you go out of business really fast. That is why so many people went out. One of the reasons why so many people went out of business during COVID, because they didn't have any extra. They didn't have any savings. All these big restaurants, you're like, oh, that's a fancy restaurant. Restaurant margins are very slim. And so they can't go more than a month or two without any revenue coming in. They're going to shut down. So this is why. So for you, and you may say, well, Will, my customers may not pay $3.99 for a cupcake. One, you haven't tried. And I'm not saying that, change your prices today, but you need to look at, one, are these the right customers for you to live the life you want to live? I mean, people get into being an entrepreneur for various reasons. Personally, I just didn't want to work for anybody anymore. I didn't like it. I didn't like people telling me what to do. I didn't like working with incompetent people. I get to choose who I work with now. It's great. I like to fix something and move on. I don't want to go back. I would do anything not to go back. And you probably feel the same way. But you've created a job for yourself doing the same kind of thing where you just got to grind every single day to get, just to kind of just live. It doesn't have to be like that. And so with your cash flow projections, redo them. And I mentioned this last time, but I'm hoping this example gives you a little more information. Redo them and look at, okay, what's my real cost if I want to live the life I want to live? If I want to send my kid to college, if I want to put them in private school, if I want to have a retirement, if I want to take some money and put it in investments, how does that increase the cost of my cupcakes? And the thing is, if you have enough volume, it may not even be that much. I mean, 40 cents more, 50 cents more per cupcake. If that's in line with the market, but then guess what? The thing is, if you, with some creative marketing, you become the Mercedes-Benz of cupcakes. And so certain customers will pay more for your Mercedes-Benz of cupcakes as opposed to insert whatever car is not as good as a Mercedes-Benz or whatever. So I think you guys get my point. Let me just check in with you before I go into this next part. Is this what I'm saying? What I'm saying, does this make any sense at all, or am I way off?
Absolutely, it makes sense. It's good.
All right. Let me check in. Somebody say something. I see you shaking your head. Somebody say something.
This is great. Yeah, as a matter of fact, because of the cash flow projections in last class, I made sure one, I called people for bad debts, which I don't normally do because I'm like, whatever, they're not going to pay. And two, uncharacteristically, I made sure my current client didn't get any more free work. I was like, you literally have to pay for this next project.
Did they say yes?
Yeah, because they really need it.
Mhm.
And at market rate, I didn't lower my price or anything. So yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
And you're right on it, Will. And it's something to know it, but it's a different thing to do it. We know this information, and I don't think I've been using it enough. I am using it now. I know at one point I was charging a rate for something, and I turn around and I asked for $800 an hour, and somebody said yes. I was like, okay, this is my customer. And I changed everything of how I, because I'm doing the same amount of work, but I wasn't making any money. I was, and I don't know if you remember, you and I had a conversation at one time, and I was like stuck because I really wasn't doing it right.
I helped you a long time ago too.
You did. That's why I'm so in love with you. Yeah.
You just express your love. We were recording. Oh my gosh, that's great. That's definitely going in the video. Oh, for sure, that's going in the video. Well, I'm glad I could help. But but this makes sense. Okay.
Absolutely.
One question I have, Will, is that in our market, we're what's called a niche market.
Yes.
And so you said something a little earlier about people, what you do, they may call it something different than what you call it. The entertainment industry has several differences in the way we refer to things. And so that's where I'm having a challenge, is in terms of how to market and who to market to, because I don't know specifically what they would call what I do.
You should ask them. I mean, it's no harder than that. It's like, go back on past clients, right? And so the bigger the organization, so, it's funny. So if it's like a business to business, you deal with the owner, right? Maybe, but they may not be the one who was looking for, maybe the owner was like, hey, admin person or partner, I want you to find 3 companies, get 3 bids or whatever. That admin person is really the one doing the search to find you, right? So talking to the owner, you say, well, look, who found us? Was it you? Oh, no. Richard, he's my admin. He found you. Is it possible for me to talk to Richard? And then you talk to Richard and he's like, oh, the way I found you was I looked on blah, blah, blah. And I looked at reviews and you had the highest reviews. You weren't even thinking about that. You were thinking about Facebook ads. He's looking at Google reviews. So it doesn't matter what you think. All that matters is what they think. And so you want to just work backwards and say, look, okay, well, why did you choose us? You want to ask them things like, what are the words you use to find us? How do you describe what I do, right? I used to have a really complicated explanation for what I do, right? But then I just started acting like, what do I do? In fact, let me just, watch this. Miss Thurston, all right? So I've helped you in the past, right? How do you describe what I do in simple words?
In simple words, you helped me make money. That was one. That's the first.
And that's what I tell people, right?
Really?
That's what I tell people. Like, people say, what do you do? Well, I help growing companies make more money. I help the government and universities be more efficient. I mean, because that's what they tell me why they hire me, right? So that's what I say. So when they hear it, they're like, ding, 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 that's what I'm looking for. If you guys notice, I don't use big words when I talk to you. I know a few big words, right? But my clients aren't interested in me sounding all, super fancy. They're like, Will, help me to make some more money. And that's what I talk about, making more money. Okay. So for you have to go back and talk to your clients and ask them. And also look, right? This is a fantastic opportunity. I highly recommend for all of you to create something in your contracts or something where you set up either monthly or quarterly check-ins. because one, it creates a deeper relationship with your customer. So when things get tight, it's not, oh, you know what, let me go ahead and cut that. I don't even know those guys. It's a whole different conversation when you were just in there. I mean, if they can't afford you, they can't afford you. It just is what it is. But if they know you and they see you as, check this out, a partner in their business, you see, that's the thing. And not, and to be clear, not you own part of the company. No. They can't do business without you because you're a trusted partner. My clients, they trust me. Like, I know, because like I say all types of stuff to them. I'm always 100% real and honest with them, and they know that. I'll say things they know that they don't want to hear, but they know that I'm, know what I'm talking about. But then two, I have their best interest at heart. So they trust me. And so I'm a trusted partner. And so you need to do the same thing. And the only reason I am is because I talk to them all the time. I text them. They need, and it doesn't matter what they need. They may need, Will, we're hiring somebody. Do you know somebody who could help us? Will, you know what? I need an attorney for a personal issue. Will, can you help me? I'm thinking about people who work for companies, like, I'm thinking about starting a company. Can you help me? I've built a relationship with them, so they trust me, so they ask me these things. So, and I put myself out there so people trust me. And I give things away for free. But it's strategic.
Mm-hmm.
It's strategic, right? Like, look, and Ms. Thurston, I don't even remember what we talked about. But I give the same level of care and respect to people if they pay me or not. And guess what happens? You go off and you just told 20 people you're in love with me and I did a good job for you, right? That's gold, right?
Yeah.
And we probably talked like, what, 15 minutes?
Mhm.
And Will, I got a Will.
Yes, sir.
Do you think as a result of this COVID-19, when small businesses do emerge back on the scene, that our market will be more sympathetic also to us, charging a little bit more, knowing what we've suffered, during this crisis? Do you think we'll be able to get it in there?
I don't know.
To get it in there with little resistance, because they know that we have suffered so much during this downturn.
I wouldn't say based on that. Like, I would never ask somebody to choose me because of pity or something like that, or because I'm black or a small business, or I can't stand that person. Like
But hear
me out. People buy things because they need it. Hear me out. Just hear me out. Hear me out. So your customer needs things. Like, that's it. Like, people buy things because they need it. Whether you're black, small, poor, whatever, it doesn't matter. So you got to find the things they need. So instead of focusing on like, hey, we're small, whatever. No, please don't. Focus on talking to them and saying, hey, what do you all need right now? We're coming out of the pandemic. What do you really need? Let me see if I can connect you. And sometimes the relationship has changed where they don't need you anymore. Like, there are relationships that I've had for 10, 20 years where I don't provide services for them directly, but I connect them to services, and I get referral fees, not from that original customer, but from people who I put in those roles.
Yeah.
So I still make money. It's just that the need has changed, but I'm still the guy who fills it. So you have to have that conversation with those customers. It's always focused on need. Because the thing is, if you fill a need, you're valuable, and they're not going to just cut you.
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay. So, and also remember this, capitalism, the beauty and the bad and the good of it is constantly destroying businesses. Constantly. There are businesses that you destroyed because you were so innovative, they couldn't compete and they went out of business. Mm-hmm. That's real. Yeah. So you may have to destroy your business because people don't want it anymore. I know that hurts. I know that hurts to even think about it. But when we come out of this, there will be a whole new set of needs.
It will.
And it's a matter of, can you fill them?
Yep.
Okay?
Got it.
All right, I'm going to go back in and wrap this up real quick before our panelists come. Okay, I just want to check in with you guys. All right? All right, but please go back on mute for me real quick, just so I can make sure we have good sound quality. All right, so I think you guys get this with the whole cupcake thing. I'm glad I added this in because I think this was helpful. So this part right here.